Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're going to be talking about the new Fnatic roster, what Fnatic is going to be looking like headed into the 2021 season, and more specifically, is Fnatic maybe better off without Rekkles? Are they going to be a better team in 2021 with Upset? Are they going to be able to achieve maybe some things that they weren't able to do last year? I know it sounds crazy, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, and I'm not even saying necessarily that I agree with that or that's how I feel, but I at least think there is some interesting discussion points and some things to talk about because Rekkles was obviously very, very good and just an amazing player and personality and brand for the team, but Upset is also a very, very good player himself that we have to make sure we're not selling him short, and they've made some other roster changes as well, so it'll be interesting to kind of discuss what we all think about this new Fnatic roster heading into the 2021 season. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you're not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. It's fast, it's free, it's easy, helps you guys stay up to date on all my latest content, and I would appreciate it a ton. Recently we passed 5,400 subscribers, 5,500 is next. Maybe we can hit it for the end of the year, hey, but if not, that's our goal headed into 2021 for sure. Also, the lighting's a little bit weird in my room right now, so the green screen might be going in and out. We'll see what we can do with that, but here we go, getting right into this one. Obviously, Fnatic ended the season last year with Rekkles. They had a 2-0 lead on top esports. They ended up getting reverse swept, going 3-2 at Worlds, and it was kind of disappointing. Like, yes, the Fnatic team, they didn't have maybe the highest expectations at Worlds, but to be up 2-0 on top, and then to just not be able to win a single game after that does really, really suck. Obviously, some players took it rough. The Fnatic ends up getting rid of Nemesis, who did not look great in the summer split, did not look great in the playoffs, did not look great at Worlds. If they would have had a little bit better mid laner, maybe this team would have been able to do a little bit better. Maybe they would have been able to make it to a semifinal at Worlds. Maybe they would have been able to even win that, which would have been crazy as well. But this Fnatic team still has a ton of talent. They still have a ton of promise. They're still one of the better teams in the world. They were just a single game away from being a top 4 team in the entire world. But then obviously they made some changes. Nemesis is gone. Rekkles is gone. Upset's coming in. Niski's coming in. And are they better off for it? Because Upset is a guy who, he is a great AD carry in his own right. He has been an absolute monster carry. And I don't really think we've ever seen him play on a team as good as this Fnatic team before. So I know a lot of people are kind of talking crap about him right now, how he's not going to be as good as Rekkles. He's going to be a big downgrade. And he has his own shortcomings. Well, Rekkles had some of his own shortcomings as well. And yes, Rekkles looked like an absolute beast, specifically at this most recent Worlds. And I think he's going to do amazing at G2. But Upset is very, very good as well, and coming into a new good team, I think can really help people start to shine and really look better. And with the Fnatic coaching staff and infrastructure and everything going on, I think Upset could definitely take his game even to a new level, to a higher high this year. I think that's definitely something very, very scary and something to definitely look out for, because Upset is a beast. He's put up insane stats even on bottom tier teams, sometimes teams that are just not very good. And yes, Rekkles has always looked great, but Fnatic has always been, not always, but most of the time, Fnatic's been an upper half team, upper tier team, one of the better teams in the league. And Upset getting to make the move over here is going to be just really, really good for him. He's going to be paired up with Hylissang, who's one of the best supports in the world. That's going to be awesome. If they can synergize, if they can kind of link up and get on the same page, they're going to be making a ton of huge plays. Obviously, Niski is a very, very supportive roaming mid laner. He's going to help facilitate Upset and the entire bot lane to just carry more and more games to look even better. They're also going to have big carry threats other places on the map. Guys like Self-Made, Whippo when he's on, they can be absolute carry threats. And they're somebody that teams have to watch out for, have to kind of give respect to. And that should open up the map a little bit for Upset as well, to be able to do his thing. And yes, he has thrown games before. He has made some boneheaded plays before. He has made some misplays and stuff before. But again, there's been a ton of pressure on him to carry a ton of games when he's been playing on these lesser teams and stuff. And I think Fnatic will be a chance to take some of that pressure off of him, to kind of enable him to hopefully take his game to the next level. And again, I'm not necessarily saying that he's going to be better than Rekkles or Fnatic's going to be even better. But I think this Fnatic team's going to be very, very good. Would I be surprised at all if they made it out of groups at Worlds, were back at the quarterfinals, and had a chance to win a quarterfinal game? Like, no, not at all. I think they could definitely at least have a chance to make it further at Worlds in this next coming year than they did last year. And that would be awesome for this team. That would be very, very exciting, especially in a year where you do lose a guy like Rekkles. If we take a look at the stats, which is something I've been enjoying lately, using this website, taking a look at all these stats from the LEC summer split of 2020. We can take some interesting things from this. When we look at KDA, Rekkles, we know he's this amazing KDA player, but not in a bad way. He plays very, very safe. He's an awesome secondary carry. I know somebody had like a comment about that earlier on one of my videos, and I completely agree with that. He's this great secondary carry. He's never going to be a high damage per minute guy. Not usually. He can be when you need it, but most of the time, he's going to be low damage per minute, low death. He's going to be staying alive. He's going to be reliable, consistent. Never really trying to make anything too crazy happen, but he gets a lot of solo kills in lane. He develops a lot of leads in lane, and he's just an absolute beast in lane. Transitions that lead well, never really throws his lead, and it turns into a lot of wins. And Upset has some of that in him too. Upset, as we can see, is a very, very high KDA player, being at a 5.9, Rekkles is at 7. And the thing that's a little bit more impressive for Upset's KDA is that Rekkles played on a better team. You can see Rekkles had a 50% win rate. Upset had a 33% win rate. And if you guys know anything about League of Legends, losing games really hurts your KDA. When you're on the losing team, it is easy to die a ton. You're playing against more fed members. You're playing against people who are really, really strong and teams that are just probably overall better than your team. And when you're trying to make plays, you're just going to die more often, especially when your team's losing. So the fact that Upset had a close KDA when his team was losing a lot more often, I think is something to pay mind to. And when we look at the other stats, they got like similar kills per game, similar deaths. The one area where Rekkles did stand out a little bit was in assists, which I think does lean a little bit more towards, he's in a little bit more fights. Fnatic's a little bit better. They're getting more kills. They're probably playing bloodier games. But yeah, as far as kills and deaths, they have very, very similar numbers. CS per minute, Upset is actually significantly above Rekkles. Upset was like 3rd in the LEC. Rekkles is down here towards the bottom. Upset at 9.7, a ton of farm, getting a ton of gold per minute. Where Upset is actually a little bit below Rekkles in that term, but again, that could be like a little bit of team differences, and Rekkles always coming out of leads very, very far ahead. But then the areas where I think things really, really stand out is in terms of damage per minute, where Upset was the highest LEC AD carry in terms of damage per minute at 585, and Rekkles was the second lowest at 476. Which I think is very, very important. And to me, it kind of shows what Upset could bring to this Fnatic team. When we talk about Rekkles being a secondary carry, and that being fine, he's very consistent, very reliable, great at what he does, great at his playstyle. But when you look at Fnatic, their mid lane was not a huge carry threat with Nemesis. And their mid lane is not going to be a huge carry threat this year with Niski. Niski is not a huge carry mid laner. He is a very, very facilitative roaming style guy, and he plays that style very well, but he's not going to carry a lot of games for you by himself. Bwipo can be that main carry, but he's a little bit inconsistent. He doesn't always pop off like that. Self-made, he's a guy, again, who can be a really, really massive carry. He's maybe a little bit more consistent, but carry junglers aren't always going to be in meta. There's going to be varying jungle metas, and sometimes you are going to just need an AD carry to be that main guy. And when you need that main primary threat as a high damage per minute, good KDA, he's going to not die, but still be able to dish out a ton of damage, you know, playing on the knife's edge of, I'm going to take one step up to do a little bit more damage, but if I take 2 steps up, I'm going to get deleted, playing right on that line of doing damage, staying alive, being there for your team, but also carrying games. Upset might provide something that Rekkles didn't necessarily do for Fnatic. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen. Obviously, stats only tell you so much of the story, and stats can be skewed. Upset could be doing a ton of damage because he's on a bad team. They're in weird situations. It could be champion pick differences and stuff. But I do know that Rekkles, you look at his stats from any split, any playoffs, any worlds, whatever, he always has these stats. He's always low damage per minute, high KDA. And Upset seems to be able to play that good KDA style, being able to do a little bit more damage per minute. Yes, Upset is going to maybe get caught out and die at bad times a little bit more often. He's maybe going to lose you a game here or there a little bit more often, because that's kind of the risk you take when you try to deal more damage. You are constantly trying to step forward, trying to step up, and maybe putting yourself in a little bit more awkward position, a little bit worse position, but you also give yourself more of an opportunity to absolutely pop off and absolutely carry that game. And I think that's something that Fnatic is potentially greatly going to benefit from this season if Upset can be that consistent, huge carry threat. And again, Upset has been absolutely popping off on kind of mid to lower tier teams in the LEC for a while now. And this is the best roster he's ever played on. This is the best supporting cast he's ever going to have. And I really think that gives him an option to really, really stand out. Now, overall, I'm not saying he's a better AD carry than Rekkles. I'm not saying he is going to outshine Rekkles or outperform him or whatever. Fnatic fans are going to be like, oh, Rekkles who? We got Upset now. No, nothing like that. But he could potentially be a better fit in this Fnatic team. He could be exactly what Fnatic needs. I think Rekkles is a great fit in G2. I think G2 has enough carries. I think a secondary carry, a guy like Rekkles, is going to be so consistent, so insane on G2. I think he's going to be a great fit. But someone on a team like Fnatic where maybe their mid lane isn't as strong as G2's, maybe their top lane isn't as strong as G2's, where they might need a more higher potential, higher ceiling, absolute pop-off threat from the AD carry, from the bot lane position, Upset might just be your guy. Again, we don't know. He's never been in this situation before, really. He might just completely fall on his face. He might just be a little inconsistent. He might be just a big step down from Rekkles. And Fnatic might kind of suck this year. Fnatic might finish 3rd or 4th in the LEC. Maybe they don't even make it to Worlds. Who knows? But I think there is a chance that Fnatic with Upset is a very, very scary team in 2021. Again, some of that is also going to be Nisqy in the mid lane, helping things out, helping enable. But I at least think the question is there. I think it is at least something to entertain that, yes, you are not going to be able to replace the branding, the leadership, the experience of a guy like Rekkles. But just in terms of straight on the Rift gameplay, Upset is a very, very good AD carry. Fnatic went after him and got him for a reason. They see something great in him, and a lot of other people do too. And I think people might just be selling Upset a little bit short. Again, I'm not saying I would rather have Upset than Rekkles. I'm not saying Upset's necessarily better than Rekkles, but it is possible that Fnatic could maybe be a little bit better in this next season. They might just be better off with Rekkles in the end. I don't know. We're going to have to see how it plays out, but I think it's at least an interesting thing to talk and discuss about. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this situation? Is Fnatic screwed without Rekkles? Do you think Upset's going to pop off? Do you think he's going to suck? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to update on the latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!